Welcome to this week's episode of A Tale of Two Scribes. I'm the host, Eric Bishop. This is a place where interesting people come to share their stories. I hope you'll support tonight's guest. As for myself, I'm a father, author, travel enthusiast, and lover of the outdoors. If you'd like to see some of my creative works, my novels, please go to my website, ericpbishop.com. Thanks for joining us tonight, and enjoy the journey. Welcome to another episode of A Tale of Two Scribes. Tonight, I am super excited to have Chris Albanese on the program. Hey, Chris.
Hey, what's up, brother? I'm gonna cheers to you and to me.
Cheers to my water bottle to you. The cruise days, we'd definitely toast some, although sometimes I'd just have water. I wouldn't tell anybody.
I think you and Mike were in drinking, and Sean and I were getting blitzed.
There was the one, I'm sure you remember which night it was. There was the one Sean night that was the epic,
It was a Mark Rainey. It was a Mark Rainey episode.
was the Mark night.
Yeah, he that was hilarious.
He drank a whole bottle of something, I think.
Yeah, it was some Japanese whiskey. It was like
Yes.
very expensive, and he drank, I think, yeah, all of it.
He drank all of it.
And
So,
it was a great episode. Like we had so much fun with it.
and I think we talked to Mark longer after the episode cut than
Yeah,
during.
oh yeah. I think we're like an hour and a half, 2 hours afterwards. It
Yeah,
was cool.
yeah. So for everyone joining us, they're like, okay, what are these guys talking about? So Chris and I used to do a podcast together. So we met virtually, I don't remember, 2017, maybe 18, somewhere in that.
2017, 2018, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood. And then we ended up all meeting up with a couple other fellows at Thriller Fest. That's where we met first face to face. And while we're at Thriller Fest, I believe it was the bus that had the idea of like, man, you guys should like do a
Yeah,
podcast or something together. And
yeah.
it was like, huh, podcast.
No,
Getting
well,
kind
you said, oh, hot podcast. I was like, what the hell's a podcast?
I still don't know what a podcast
Uh,
is. Joe Rogan told us we're supposed to make millions off it. That's all I
Yeah,
know. So
we get to
screw Joe.
laugh. We get to drink.
Get to Drake. And so we were ended up doing a podcast. You guys still have a podcast. I was part of the crew reviews from September of 19 until sometime in 20. So I had the
Y-
period of life I'm going through a separation and divorce. So
Yeah,
I've talked to you a little bit, I think, in an email this summer, last summer. I sent you an email, kind of apologizing how kind of things went with that because it was a blessing in disguise, but it was also a curse. So I'm going
yeah,
through this horrific life event, and then I meet three new friends. We do a podcast, and once a week we get to just laugh, tell jokes, interview really cool people, and I get to escape the reality of what's happening in my life.
yeah.
The
It was good
downside, though, is
stuff.
I'm escaping the reality of my life, and everything's falling apart, and eventually that catches up to me, and I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. I'm missing out on
Yeah,
time with my kids. I want to be a writer. I don't want to be a podcast person. I'm going through all this stuff, and yeah, it was a speed bump in life that I'm glad
yeah.
I'm through. And then what do you know? 4 years later, however many years it's been, we're on a podcast again together. So,
It's
hey,
crazy. It's good, but yeah, through that time, I don't think we knew exactly how everything was hitting you, like
yeah,
how heavy it was on your shoulders. Like a communication thing, or us
sure,
just wanting to just blast out the podcast and get as big
right,
and as popular as we could,
yeah,
and not recognizing that everybody's not at the same point.
yeah. Well, and it's not again, with everything I went through, it's never a woe is me. It's a life experience, but it's a reminder as I interact with other people of you never know what someone's going through.
Yeah, dude, never.
And especially in this, we're blessed to live in this age and we're cursed to live in this age because we live in this age where, at least in the past, I know things are kind of rapidly changing, but Facebook used to be a place where you'd go and you'd be like, oh, let's catch up with people. Well, then I think Facebook kind of morphed into, instead of catching up, hey, let's do the highlight of our life and have all the good
Hmm.
stuff. So people look at each other's Facebook page and be like, screw them. Why are they going to Barcelona? Or why are they going to Hawaii? Why? I'm stuck here at my house. So I think it then kind of twisted in a way and then became a a reality of what people are doing, but they're only putting their greatest hits on them.
Mm.
They're not. I wasn't posting on Facebook like, "Ah, divorce sucks. Here's all the reason it sucks." No, I mean, it's not a good way to attract an
No, no,
audience.
that's not how people use social media at all. No, you got to sell the best version of yourself.
Sell the
100%.
sell the best version of yourself. So, yeah, it was an interesting time in life. Like I told you last year when I had emailed you that, I kind of needed to go through that and needed to get into a better place and did. And then,
But look where you are now, man. Look, I mean, I'm looking over your left shoulder and looking at all those you've been blessed to write all those stories. Like you wanted to be a writer, and
I
so
did.
your name is on those covers, and there's multiple covers up there, and so
Hmm.
and you're getting to readers' minds with your stories, and that's all we ever want. You, me, Sean, Mike. That's all we ever wanted to do was put stories out there. Just write, put stories out there, and connect with readers. And
Hmm.
dude, you went and did it. You went and got your own.
Yeah, thank you. No, and I do. I kind of end up have the blessing now of people on a regular basis reaching out to me with questions and kind of,
Yeah.
hey, how do I do this? How did you do it? I think a lot of times they think I'm a lot more successful than I am. And I tell them that. I'm like, I'm not, you're not talking to the top of the, I'm not on the top of the ski lift here. This isn't the top of the mountain. I'm
Yeah.
down in that bottom run still. But I'm able to take what I learned and at least help them along the way. Maybe give them some pointers of ways I struggled. And then also really do give them the reality of like, hey, get in this. And I always tell people, I say this on the podcast, I say this when I talk to people, be doing this for the right reasons.
Oh
If
yeah.
the reasons are pure, if you're doing this because you've been blessed with the ability to tell a story or to have a story in your head and you want to get it out, that's a great reason to be a writer. If you're doing this because you look at the success of the Stephen Kings or the Jack Carrs or, fill in the blank, the John Grishams, and you go, I want that. Boy, have you chosen the wrong field.
But Eric, you could still want that. You
No,
can
no,
still
no.
shoot for it.
You can want it,
Yeah, and you
but
maybe get lucky because there's a lot of luck involved in this industry. You know that. A lot of luck
you
involved.
can,
Doors have to open at
absolutely.
the right time for you.
But I think it helps to understand the ground rules when you get going because I didn't. So like with my story, when I first wrote the first one, I just thought, oh, this is. I mean, I was talking to you guys all when I was
Yeah.
trying to publish book or what became the first one. What was the fourth one? It's like this is bound to hit. This is bound to get an agent. This is bound to get Simon and Schuster being like, we're not worthy. No, no, it didn't work that way.
Rejection. How intimately we know rejection as writers. Oh my gosh.
We do. We do. But that's okay because it's part of the process. And as soon as you kind of get to that point and you can understand it, and especially, I mean, if all you end up facing is rejection, and if nothing ever gets published and you don't want to self-publish and you're just always there, well, that's a dark place to be.
Oh
If you
yeah.
can get over that hump, that can kind of show you that there is a way to get your stories out. And then, of course, got to do it again. And then you got to.
Yeah, it's never ending. But I mean, you have to love it. Like if we didn't love to write, if we didn't love storytelling, if we didn't have vivid imagination, like, you
Mhm.
wouldn't do this
No.
because it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Really is. Like the way it
It
just
is.
beat you down, the rejection, all of it. You
Yeah.
wouldn't do it.
No, you're completely right. I was right. And I was telling you offline. I've completely went out of order. This book's kind of wacky. Downfall is going to be a really good book when I finish it. I wrote the last chapter the other day, and I was so excited. I had the idea. Instead of making notes of it, I said, I'm just going to write the last chapter. I'm going to write the end. I'm going to write the body man will be back. I'm going to do all that. So I did it. I was outside by myself. I gave myself a little, yeah. Now you just got to finish half the book. Okay, good job, dude. Come in. My daughter's studying for a geography test. So I come in and tell her, and she's kind of like, okay, yeah, good job, Daddy." And I
Yeah.
was like, maybe you'll do that one day. She's like, no, I am not writing a book. I have zero desire to write a book. I'm like, okay, well, you'll have one of my books.
Yeah. But I mean, you think about how many people, I mean, there's lots of people who've always wanted to write a book. And you talk to lots of people, just
Yeah.
even just, regular people.
Hmm.
I have this idea, I want to write a book, but they actually sit down to put in the months the days, the hours, the months of writing it. That takes, it's consistency and commitment. And not a lot of people have that. So,
True. Well, it's a discipline, and what I always try to tell people for advice when they come to me and say, "How do I do it?" I always tell them the same thing: is you're going to have to give something up. Just know that from the
mm.
get-go. You're gonna have to put something else aside. Whether that's television, if you have a family, do not put them aside. So, but but not advisable, trust me.
No, don't.
Not advisable to do this. But a hobby, whatever, if you like to golf, you might not be able to golf as much. Maybe instead of golfing, you're gonna have to tone that down and you're gonna have to take a couple hours every day and write. But something's gonna have to, for me, it was television. I've talked about that in the podcast over the years.
Yeah, no more Seinfeld.
My daughter's a huge Seinfeld fan now, so now I do get
Mm.
to watch Seinfeld with her. Although every she still does ask. She's 14, so she'll still say, "Hey, can I watch this one?" And I'll be like, "Look at the title. No, no, you
Can't
can't
watch
watch
that
that
one.
one." I know the names of the episodes
That's
that
so
she's
funny,
not allowed
dude.
to
That's
watch.
crazy that you do.
I let her watch one the other day, and she's like, she said this one. Can I watch this one? I looked at it. We're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. We're good with that one. She goes, you've never let me watch this one. I'm thinking in my head, okay, what do these idiots do in this episode? And it got about halfway through, and it wasn't race. Seinfeld's
Yeah.
PG-13 for the most part.
Yeah.
They're innuendos, but it's never nothing graphic or anything like that. A couple spots hit up, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I didn't let her watch that one. I'm like, yeah, she's old enough now. That was a couple years ago. So
Have you seen the Sea Dance 2.0 stuff, the AI, the Chinese AI, where they've Seinfeld and Kramer, and it's off the charts. It's crazy.
Kramer looked in, yeah, but some of those videos are super amazing. I thought the Seinfeld one that I saw at least looked a little on the cheesy side. It wasn't as good as Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise going at
Yeah,
it.
yeah, right.
That one was really good, but it's getting wild though.
Bro, I could you
Wild.
2 months ago, like that wasn't a thing. In 2 months, what's it gonna be? In 12 months, 24 months, what's it gonna be? It's gonna completely shake up the industry.
The someone I can't remember who was interviewed the other day. It was a Hollywood person that I didn't recognize the name, but he basically like, yeah, game over. It's game over for us. And he's like a screener. He's like an accomplished person in the industry. It's like, yeah, no, we're done. We're done. And maybe not done today, but
No,
long
no,
term.
because I think I was reading a thing that said that Sea Dance 2.0 or whatever it's called,
Yeah.
um, they were doing 15-second clips or 40-second clips, whatever it is, like short amount of time.
Hmm.
But the next version is going to be 15 minutes,
Yeah.
and that's going to come out in the next month or so. And then the next version after that, it's going to happen.
It's gonna happen.
It's weird too, and I like. There's a part of me that wants to see it because as like a fan of stuff, like, oh, I'd be curious to see. But at the same time, like, it's a computer making this stuff. It's
Yeah.
not you or me or someone's job or a human's
Right.
creativity. Some
Yeah.
algorithm. It's weird.
I saw one the other day because with all these changes, like this month they released a couple. No, it wasn't Claude. I can't remember now. I'm not familiar with enough of the terminology, but a couple of the big, Chat GPT and those type of things came up with their newest releases, and these were like
Mm.
game changer ones of how it's gonna do stuff. So I've been seeing a lot more of the techie stuff on social media, and I've been bookmarking a lot of stuff to go back and read it. But one of them, and it pissed me off when I first saw it, was basically like, here's the prompts to give Claude to write a full length novel.
Hey, good luck with that.
Basically, I know, I agree, but it was telling you ways to bypass of basically I was reading it because it was interesting. It was basically some of the prompts in there were saying like make mistakes, have the characters, kind of have arguments between, and it was giving them like human type. It was basically forcing them to say, we need to have more human interaction, but it was like expressly telling this system kind of how to make that story more sound like it was written by a real person versus an AI. And I'm like, no, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And I don't
It's
know,
weird.
it still might be garbage, but here's the other thing, and I was talking to this with a friend this week about it. Even if some of the stuff that's coming out is garbage, what it makes it harder for is like the indies and people that don't go traditional is, yeah, every Tom, Dick, and whatever the other
Yeah.
ones, the names out there, Harry out there starts going, well, I'm going to upload me a book. And well, if Amazon starts getting hit with an extra 10,000 books a day, you got that much more competition. I
You're
mean, it might
lost.
be,
Completely lost. Yeah.
yeah, there might be 9,999 piles of dog poop, but you're trying to publish a book the same day, and all of a sudden all those eyes or look all those people looking at those covers as
Well,
well.
I think they put in something because you and I have both used Amazon to publish.
Yes.
There's a limit of how many you can publish within a day or
Oh, okay.
a
I
time.
know
I
you have
think,
to acknowledge if you use AI for any
yeah,
that,
but
but
I
okay.
but I think they've limited it to five, so you can only publish 5 books a day.
Yeah. You know, I
What?
can beat out five of these idiot machines with my story.
I don't know. Can you
No,
get out of the noise of
no,
all of that
no.
and be like, unless someone knows who Eric Bishop is or who
Yeah.
Chris Albanese is, they would never see your book ever.
Yeah. No, 100%. Well, even, and we weren't talking about this ahead of that. We talked, folks that listen to this, we probably talked for 50 minutes before I hit record. So we were just
Yeah,
kind
we
of
did.
having
Yeah,
stuff.
we did.
Probably some good stuff that should have been in here. But um, when I first started interacting with you, and I didn't say this when we were talking initially, but social media was fun. Wasn't always fun, but the interactions, there was a lot of, at least in my opinion, there was a lot of this kind of camaraderie,
We were
getting to
silly. We
know.
were
Yeah,
silly with each other. Yeah, yeah.
yes. I'm not saying that's gone because that's not fair to say it's gone. But when it happens now, I'm kind of like, oh, this is what it used to be like on a regular basis.
Uh,
That's not there for the majority of time. Like Twitter, a lot of authors, not a lot, but definitely some authors came off when Musk bought it. Um,
mm,
Facebook, Facebook now for me, at least what my algorithm's in, probably because I'm publishing now, every other time I scroll, every second or third post is just an ad for someone's books. That's all it is.
is it?
It's just advertisements. It is. So it's hard to like if when you post stuff with your family or you put you on your personal page, I see stuff, but I don't see stuff very often from you. So if I see something, I almost have to go to your profile to see
So
anything.
it's weird.
Yeah.
Because our phones are always listening. We were talking about going on vacation, and the kids brought up Atlantis in the Bahamas.
Hmm.
And I was scrolling on Facebook and boom,
Yeah.
there, lo and behold, Atlantis, Bahamas. But
Where
you're
you
right.
going?
Like I don't see your posts unless I would go to see your page, you
Yeah.
know, on purpose.
You unfriend me.
Or I may see it in a glance,
Yeah.
right? And so like one out of a bazillion,
Right.
and then and then you click on a photo, and then you see another photo, and then maybe
Yes.
the algorithm resets. I have no idea, but you're right. It's Facebook is for like friends and family occasionally post stuff about books and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, and Twitter is more about, or X is more about political commentary, at least for what I see,
For what
and
you
it's all
see.
about rage baiting.
Yeah. It totally
Really,
is.
it's all about rage.
Well, this week my algorithm is all about how AI is going to, because we're talking offline. I have a blue
Yeah,
collar job of financial analyst. Oh yeah,
going for it.
you better learn how to dig a ditch in the next like 38 hours because
Yeah,
all
bro.
the jobs will be
What
gone.
what are you and I gonna do? We're that all of a sudden at the mid-century of our lives, like we're supposed to just get new skills. Like what? We spend our entire lives in a certain field. We're supposed to go and learn a new trade. I mean, we could, but then we'll be dead. Like by the time we get proficient at it.
I told you offline. I'm third year of doing this. I'm slimming down, and this year I'm going to do it. So I'm not ruling out male gigolo. I'm going to go for maybe. Yes, I did that while you're drinking. I'm going to think maybe this is my year for male gigolo. I don't know. That's. I hope that pays my mortgage. So,
Oh gosh, dude.
well, Chris isn't going to buy into it. So crap. There's one customer that's not a male. So
Yeah, no, sorry, dude.
uh,
My
I,
wife would see. She's like, "What is this charge?"
what is this?
No,
What are you paying
it's
Bishop for?
it's why is there a $25 charge to Eric Bishop? Don't ask
Only
questions.
only middle-aged fans? What the heck is it?
What?
Men fans? What the heck kind of market
Terrible,
is this?
terrible. Let me
No.
write that down though. Hold on.
I opened it last night. It's there.
Oh,
It's
beat me to it.
I got
Damn it.
I got it now. No, I'm so joking about all that stuff, but serious, I don't know. Like I have definitely given it some consideration. Even my company, so I work for I don't say who I work for, but I work for a Fortune 500 company.
Right.
21 years in the industry I'm in. Last year, my boss reached out to me. I think it was October, November-ish. Very friendly conversation, but it's like, hey, we got a new AI portal there. And I'm like, I'm listening to him for a minute. And I said, so is this like where you're telling me I'm going to lose my job? He goes, no, this is going to help your job. And I'm like, I don't know about this. This sounds suspicious to me. Because, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'd love to say that's fine. I sell 1,000 books a day. I don't need corporate America. In my head,
thousand thousand books a day would be magical,
that would be, we probably know by name a few people that might do that, but it's not,
dude. It's
it's
not
not us. I
not
can't
you,
even give
not
away 1,000 books a
not
week.
me. I know, right? Try to give up, but they're like, no, thank you.
No, I did a, for Ransom Daughter, because I've, obviously I try every marketing thing I can hear about, and people tell me try this one. So for Ransom Daughter, I did a giveaway through Amazon. It's probably like 2 years ago now. It'd been out for a while, and I got a pretty solid amount of downloads. So I was like, okay. So the next
Interesting.
year, I said, let me try that for Babylon Will Rise. It didn't get as many solid, and I kind of thought with both those,
Why?
well, maybe people will get it. Maybe they'll read it or open it, and they'll be like, oh, he's got three other books or four other books at the time, whatever.
Yeah, lead generator. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see that. And I think what happens with a lot of the free downloads is I think people probably do go to Amazon on a regular basis and go, oh, here's all my list of free books. And like, oh, Ransom Daughter. Oh, this, if you had one out there. I think a lot of people download them, but I probably have downloaded 50 over the years. I don't think I've ever opened one on Amazon
Uh,
that I got for free. So I think that's what ends up being the problem is, yeah, you get the downloads, but to actually execute that, to have someone read the book and then leave a review or go buy one of your other books, that's the diamond in the rough. That's a
that's the
lot.
next step. How do you get them to do that?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
I have no
I'm
idea.
going to stand on the corner, street corner, and just throw books at people in their cars they drive by. Just take it. Instead of begging for $1, I'm gonna give you a book here.
Make sure the window's open. Only throw it at the
No,
cars that have the open window, so it goes right
chuck it.
in. Well, hey, we've kind of like let people know that we've got some background together here. So
A little bit.
let's transition for a minute here and talk about your background. Because I always think when I'm talking with people, I always love to kind of dissect of why did they get into writing. But for most people, even if they started writing as a young age, they started a career long before they ever, tried to publish or got published. So tell us a little bit about Chris Albanese and your background with law enforcement, with Secret Service. How did
Yes.
all that
Okay.
transpire?
Well, I will tell you in the second grade, me and my best friend and I, Keith Mellon, we would write short stories, time traveling short stories.
Nice.
Um, and the guy's his name, the protagonist, the short story, his name is George Black. And I've always held on to that.
Hmm.
So I've always wanted to be a writer. I've always said I want to see this face for people who are watching this face on the back of a cover because that'd be cool, or my name on the front cover.
Yeah,
It just would be cool. That's the ego in me wanting
sure.
to see all that stuff. Um, and I took writing in college,
Hmm.
expository writing at Rutgers University. It was like one of the toughest classes I ever took, and it was too difficult, and I didn't like it.
Hmm.
And so, like, my I guess my desires and wants changed as I got a little bit older, and I
Sure.
ended up getting into law enforcement. I ended up going to a criminal justice background. Thought I was going to be a lawyer, and then I ended up doing a an internship in a prosecutor's office where the investigator or detective I was assigned to like get his coffee, make photocopies and stuff. Which is
Hmm.
like, dude, you don't want to be an attorney. They sit in court, they write stuff. Like you want to be on the streets, you want to be talking to people. That's where all the action happens. And me as a young man, I was like, yeah, I want to be where the action is happening.
Yeah.
And so I ended up getting a job at the Attorney General's office in New Jersey
Hmm.
doing investigations. And then I ended up working a case with some Secret Service agents prior to 9/11. And they're like, dude, we're going to have a hiring push here. We think you'd be great. Why don't you apply to the Secret Service? And I was like, never thought about it. I thought about maybe the FBI, but the Secret Service sounds cool.
Yeah.
So I applied, and it was right before 9/11, and you had to type out. You had to use a typewriter. Like there was nothing online. You had to use a typewriter to fill out your application. And I was talking to the recruiters, and I had applied. And this is when the Secret Service, I was applying to the New York City field office because they told me you'd have a better chance of getting hired because it's a bigger office
Yeah.
than in the New Jersey office. And so I applied, and it was right around 9/11. My application was being processed, and 9/11 happened,
Wow.
and Tower 7 fell, which is where the Secret Service headquarters was located. And my paper application, was in there.
Was in seven.
Yeah, it was in 7,
I
and
don't think I remember telling you that.
and so then but then they came back to me afterwards, and even then they're just like, you need to get some more experience. You need some accounting credits because Secret Service investigates money and financial
Yeah.
crimes. We want you to go back, get some accounting credits, go back to school, learn about that,
Mhm.
and then do your job a little bit more as an investigator at the state AG's office, and then come back to us.
Then come
And
back.
then about a year or two later, I reapplied because originally I thought, well, my application got destroyed in 9/11. Maybe that's God telling me not to take
Yeah.
this job.
Right.
But then I felt, but then I was talking to agents again who ended up becoming friends of mine. They're like, no, we're really hiring right now because the threat level has gone through the roof.
Yeah.
We think you'd be a really good addition. And I was like, okay. So I
Mhm.
applied and I ended up getting hired. And I got hired in New Jersey and I started in Newark, New Jersey, which was really cool. Worked with some amazing people. One of the good things the Secret Service does is, I don't know about now because I've been out of the Secret Service for a while, but
Mhm.
they hired the best and the brightest. And I ended up working with, I still don't know how I got the job because I consider myself just like a kid from New Jersey, not so much a
Mhm.
kid anymore, but just a kid, grew up in suburbia, nothing special. But I was working with people who were special forces, Navy
Yeah.
SEALs, Marine Force Recon, NYPD, counterterrorism unit. Like
Mhm.
these people came from these background, former NHL hockey or NFL retired or
Yeah.
just amazing people who've done amazing things. And here I
You.
am just showing up. Yeah, just like me. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to be part of this group. Hi. So I ended up at the Secret Service for about 13 years. I went from the Newark field office in New Jersey to the New York City field office. Did a bunch of criminal investigations and protection assignments because the Secret Service does two things. They do the criminal investigations and they also do the protection stuff. And then they as all Secret Service agents, you end up having to do protection time.
Yeah.
So you either get assigned to the vice president or the president, and it's really based on the needs of the service.
Mhm.
And when my number came up, and I actually at this time I was married to another Secret Service agent. I still am. Um, so they wanted to bring us down together, and thankfully they did. They said we're going to send you down to Washington D.C., but you're going to be on the vice president's detail, and your wife's going to do a protective intelligence detail.
Mhm.
And I ended up on Joe Biden when he was vice president at the time. And so I worked his detail for a while.
Yeah.
And that was interesting. But I had started a family during the time. And you're a father. And when you become a father, your priorities, and you know this, change
Yep.
dramatically, like overnight, just change completely.
Mhm.
And I had the coolest job and I did the coolest things. And I literally traveled the world. I think I stepped on every continent except for Australia. I could have, but I didn't get there. But when I had my son and then my daughter was born, I realized I cannot do this job. I can't do this job anymore. I'm away
Right.
all the time, especially when I was on a protective detail. I was traveling. Joe Biden, he went to Delaware. He went home to Delaware when he was vice president every weekend.
Yeah.
I was gone all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And although I worked with some great people and I loved my job, I loved my family more. And so I decided, talking with my wife, something's got to give because she started traveling. I was traveling. Someone else was raising our children,
Raising your
and
kids.
I didn't want to be an absent father. I wanted to be there with them.
Mhm.
I wanted to see them do things. I wanted them to not remember me as the dad who just showed up every once in a while because work was a priority.
Mhm.
And so I quit, and I took another job within the government doing something else
Yeah.
that keeps me home.
Mhm.
That um, that allows me to be with my children and then also allows me to write because as a Secret Service agent, I didn't have time for hobbies. You worked out because you wanted to stay in shape.
Mhm.
You went to the range to shoot, and then you came home to sleep. And somewhere along the line, you ate and you saw your wife and maybe you saw your kid's baby.
Yeah.
There was just too much to do.
Yeah, for the record, if anyone gets on online and starts pulling old videos of Joe Biden when he was vice president, you will not see Chris Albanese in the background,
Mhm.
just long-handing stuff like, what's that Secret Service agent doing? Oh, he's telling a story.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't get to happen.
But what's cool is that you see so much and you get to see so many people and you
Yeah.
get the authenticity to for what because I always wanted to be a writer. So when I came out of the Secret Service, I started writing stories,
Hmm.
and then I added what I knew. So
Right.
like FBI agents could write really cool FBI stories, or
Yeah.
CIA analysts and agents can write really cool CIA stories because they know the nitty gritty stuff.
Hmm.
The nitty gritty stuff in the Secret Service. Some of it's cool. Some of it is boring.
Yeah.
because you're standing in front of a door. Like
Right.
that's just boring. Like you don't want to know that stuff. But like the call signs and the movements and the
Yes.
units and like the real secret squirrely stuff that
Right.
people think they know about, but you can make it even cooler if you're like a former Secret Service agent writing it, right?
Absolutely.
Because we
Absolutely.
talked about it because your body man is a Secret Service agent, and we talked about that stuff as well.
And
So
I had written most, if not all, the Body Man before I met you. Or maybe I had a
right,
little bit left. I can't remember. But I will say stuff that you had told me, not nothing that's you can't find out if you go searching for it. So
right.
common stuff, but stuff I would have probably not known to ask. You told me stuff that for future books, for breach of trust and other books, I'd sometimes be writing and be like, oh wait, no, the agent wouldn't do that because I remember Chris telling me a story of such and such that happened.
Right.
So, and then John Guarnieri, who's the guy that started Spear Talk, which is on the Spear Talk network, he was actually Secret Service under Obama.
Right.
So
Yeah, we
he,
never met though. Yeah, we never met.
yeah, no, I think I had asked him early on if he knew you when I first met John. But so yeah, so sometimes I've had that ability and that blessing of being able to ask some people if like if this is because I've picked John's brain the last couple of years as I've been working on the future books, but like, is this legit or would this happen? Or I'd send him a chapter and say, I know it's fake. I know I don't have everything right, but do I have the general concept? Like, because I know real agents will read my stuff and be like, this guy wasn't a Secret Service agent. That's okay. I
Yeah.
wasn't. So I'm not gonna get those details right. But the average punter, the average person that's buying a book that doesn't have that, intimate knowledge might be like, this bit. I mean, I've had people over the years definitely say, so where in the government did you actually work? And I'm like, I have a financial analyst degree with a history minor, and I work for a Fortune 500 company. And they're like, yeah, I know that, but really, where did you get your stuff? It's like, I make stuff up. And
You
if
should
you
just
believe it,
I
then
lie
I've
for
done
a living.
it. Exactly. I think Brad Meltzer used to have on his profile for his social media, the greatest criminal mind of the century, or
Yeah.
something like that. Of like, the nicest, sweetest man if you meet him and you get to interact with him like I have that you'll ever meet. But yeah, if you want to write, you got to be able to make stuff up, and you got to be able
Yeah.
to make think people think that, oh, you really were a double agent working against, the United
It's
States
cool.
at one point.
Yeah.
So,
I Eric, I've had people writers, authors, some big names that you and I would know. It's want to ask for like a Secret Service agent's perspective. And because you and I, we've talked to these other authors,
mhm.
our names are out there and our backgrounds are out there. And so they would ask me email or call me up and be like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And I'll read it and I'm like, "That's not what a Secret Service agent would do." They'd be like, "Well, what would the Secret Service agent do?" I'd be like, "The Secret Service agent would do the really boring thing. So don't write that. What you wrote is perfect." And the only person that would know it was wrong is me or like
It's the
another
secret.
agent. And
Exactly.
who cares? Like, you don't write the like obviously like don't write the boring stuff. Like if you want to be authentic and accurate, it'd be very boring.
Yes.
Very boring.
Yeah.
You'd have 10 minutes of. I'll tell you a quick story. It was kind of funny when I was I was working a protection assignment for George W. Bush. He was down at Waco at his ranch during the summer. He would go every summer.
Yep.
And one time we were in between shifts. We were out, or maybe it was after shifts, and we were having dinner. And we were all sitting. There was a bunch of agents, probably like six of us, having dinner at this local stop,
Hmm.
brisket or something. It was really Rudy's, I think it was called. And the waitress came over and she was cute. One of the guys was talking to her, and she's like, "Oh my gosh!" And he told her that we were Secret Service agents because I guess agents were just coming out into the location to the restaurant often,
Hmm.
and it was abnormal. So anyway, so she knew she pegged us for who we were, and when the guy told her, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, it sounds like such an amazing job." And he started to talk about the amazing job, and one of our buddies was like, "No, no, no, let me tell you exactly what it's like. Get up at like 4 a.m. in the morning, put on your best clothes, your nicest suit, shine your shoes, go stand out in your backyard for 10 hours, and then go back inside." And she's like, and she's like, "What?" She's like, "That's what it was like today.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're there just in case something happens." That's
Right.
a Secret Service agent. You don't want something to happen because that's a bad day.
Yeah.
So you end up standing around often when you're doing the protection stuff. Often, if you're just a post stander,
Yep.
sucks.
I joked with, and I know you'd appreciate the joke. I joked with people when I was security for Thriller Fest. So 3 years I did security for Thriller Fest, and
I
and I had someone
remember.
blast me after that, like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I'm volunteering in Thriller Fest. I do security." It's like, "So what's your job?" I'm like, and I just, of course, completely making this up. I was like, "They told me I'm a lead stopper. I'm not sure what." I'm so they look at me like I'm serious at first. I'm like, "It's a joke. I'm just standing there." The only time it was actually interesting, or not
George R. R. Martin. I
George
beat you.
Orwell.
I got, yeah, yeah. I know. I love it. I love
That was
that.
the interesting one. And that was still, I told someone that story recently. I'm like, people go behind him and want to cut a lock of his hair. And they're like, that's not real. I'm like, no, really.
So,
They told me,
so
don't let
weird.
anyone behind him. And I stood there at the table while he's signing autographs, just watching people. And if someone came by, I'm like, please don't go behind George. That was,
Did,
I was a glorified Secret Service, except I got to actually talk to some people.
no, it's cool though. I mean, I love him because we've talked about that.
Yeah.
That's such a cool story because I haven't met him. I think that was the year before we met.
I think it was 18. Yeah. I think
18, yeah, we met in 2019.
19.
Um, I mean, if I were you, I would have like tapped him on the shoulder, be like, write faster, George, write faster.
I know.
Have you
Uh,
speaking of him? Have you watched? I'm a big Game of Thrones fan. Have you
mhm.
watched the new show?
No, I'm not.
Oh, so there's a new show coming out, and it's Duncan and Egg, a Night of the Realm. I forget the actual title of it.
Hmm.
There's
Okay.
it's a new season. There's five episodes out
Five
now.
episodes.
It's
Okay.
on
Okay.
HBO. It's actually some of the best writing and cinematography that I have
That
seen
you've
in
seen.
a very long time. Excellent. Dialogue's excellent. Characters excellent. The
Interesting.
plot, the scenery, everything is excellent. Some of the best stuff I've seen on TV lately.
I don't have HBO. So HBO, I'm probably going to have to get, which my kids will say this is uh, uh, heresy. I'm probably going to have to get it when they finally come out with the Harry Potter show, or at
Oh
least
yeah, the new one. When's that coming out?
they're
This year?
filming. I think they started filming it in July of last year.
Oh, so we got a year.
So it probably will not come out until end of this year, or next year. It might even be next year. They might have announced.
Mm.
But I'll probably catch that. I know, I'm in this phase where I got to be really careful because the lazy Eric loves to stream shows,
That's
but the
okay.
lazy Eric doesn't write novels. It's like that bum just like watches great, like I started someone about a year and a half ago, like, oh, you got to watch Tulsa Kings. So I like binged the first season, like,
Oh
because
yeah.
any nights I don't have the kids, um, I try to get my writing done on those nights when I'm not the kids anymore. My son's off to college, so it's my daughter. But I try to do my writing mostly in those nights when I don't have my daughter. Although now she's a teenager, goes in her room, and I can sit right on the couch by myself because she doesn't care.
She doesn't like you in
I
that.
don't
She doesn't
exist
like you right
anymore. I'm
now.
I'm a funding source. I'm the ATM. Like, hey,
Dude, I know
Hollister's
it.
got a sale, and I'm like,
I know it.
I'm sure it's not cheap. Sure. But so I'll sit. So when I have dinner, my watching time is typically while I'm eating dinner. I don't want to just sit at a table by myself and look at a wall. So I'll watch an
Yeah.
episode of something. So that's how I kind of get through a series. Last night I cheated. I wrote that chapter I mentioned, and I wanted to see Crime 101. So I went out to a theater up the road.
Oh, I
Uh,
don't know it.
Crime 101. So it was Don Winslow short story or novella, and they turn it into a movie. It's got Chris Helmsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Halle
Oh wow.
Berry. Yeah, it's
Big
a it's
name.
it's a heist kind
Tom
of.
Winslow. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so it's a heist kind of thing. I will say this: the only thing that's a little, I've noticed this with some of Don's stories and stuff is, I can't say all because always is a bad word to use, but frequently cops are a little bit on the crooked side. They're either taking bribes or they're looking the other way as someone
He's
blows them.
making it interesting. He's creating that tension there.
I
You know,
wonder though,
no,
does that bother law enforcement that watch?
no, not at all. No,
Okay.
it doesn't. You know what I find interesting that because it's a short story, that's become like a thing. The Andrews and Wilson's guys, they've been publishing
Yeah.
uh tons of short stories.
Yep.
And I think that's in response to Hollywood or vice versa. I don't know, someone.
Hmm.
The idea that you just generating IP and
Yep.
then get interest from Hollywood, and then it
Correct.
turns into like this movie you were just talking about, which I'm gonna have to go look up now.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. Wasn't the best thing I ever saw, but it was worth seeing for sure. I kind of thought I figured it out at a certain point. Kind of, sorta. Didn't exactly work the way I thought it was gonna, but the concept was pretty. It was solid. I didn't know the story ahead of time. I just every now and then. Plus, it's hard to find. I know we're middle. Well, not getting. We're middle age. It's hard to find stuff that catch my attention now. Especially like I'll watch stuff with my daughter sometimes, and I'm better about it. Maybe this last year, maybe not. And she'll like just throw a pillow at me, Dad. You're snoring. I'm like, oh, like how much should I
I've
snore?
been there. Is your daughter into anime? Because my daughter, we have daughters around the same
No.
age. Uh, she loves my daughter loves anime, and so she's like, and so we go to Comic Cons together.
Okay, that's
Th-
cool
this
though.
is this is our thing. We go to Comic Cons together. We were just we did New York City
Hmm.
Comic Con last year. We did Galaxy Con in Richmond, Virginia. We're going to do that again next month.
Nice.
It's in March. We go to the one here in I'm in Northern Virginia, so we went to the one in
Mhm.
Fairfax. So like we do Comic Cons. That's like our thing. She's into anime. My son's into the Marvel DC stuff.
Mhm.
And so we watch anime together. And but she has a new one like every other day. She's like, "Oh, I watched all of these. We got to watch these, Daddy." And I'm like, "All right, I'll watch them." And I'm you. I'll watch the first couple, and I'm like, "Yeah, this is great." She's like, "Isn't this great, Dad?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, it's great." And then I'm snoring, and she's throwing a pillow at me. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "All right, I gotta go to bed."
Terrible. The worst story I have for it, I was this is I don't know how many years. Whenever the second Deadpool movie came out, I went and visited some friends that were part of Fifth Group. So we're over in this backwoods Kentucky movie theater, and the AC went out. So we're Deadpool starts, and I'm watching the movie, and all of a sudden my head kind of pops up, and I'm like, what the heck's going on in this movie? And I didn't know how long I was out for.
You
I
were
don't know
out.
what I missed.
You fell asleep during Deadpool? Oh my gosh,
The
dude!
second Deadpool movie. Oh no, it gets better. It gets better. So get through it. My buddy never said it. My buddy on the right, it was, fifth group, never said a word like, dude, you were snoring. So maybe I did snore. Maybe I was a quiet sleeper. So, okay, I slept through part of Deadpool. No big deal. Well, a buddy, I went back home, came back to the Carolinas, and my buddy's like, dude, you saw Deadpool 2 without me? I was like, it's okay. I fell asleep during part of it. Let's go see it again.
Watch it again.
So no, I didn't fall asleep the second time. So I'm watching it, and I hit the spot where I'm like, I don't remember this part. So I
It's
kind of looked
good.
at my watch. What time is it? And then I kept watching, and I kept watching, and I'm like, oh, I remember this part. I looked at my watch. I was like, I was sleeping for like 45 minutes. I slept for like half the movie.
Well, I started. It's probably been a good several years now. I was going to say couple. It's probably several. Anytime I go to the movies with the kids, I'm out.
You're out.
I'm out because it's not that it's quiet, but it's like dark and no one's talking to me, and I'm just
I know.
they got a recliner, and I'm just
Yes.
cuddled up by out.
My daughter brings a blanket now. I have to bring a
Yeah,
blanket to go to the theater, and she'll be like, "Dad, I
yeah.
get a blanket." And I'm like, "Seriously?" So that's they sell them in the get. Fortunately, we always remember it because I'm like, they sell them, in the
No,
concession
no,
area now.
no way. Too expensive. We saw Dracula recently, the other day. My wife wanted to see it, so we all went.
Hmm.
It was good. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
I love going to the movies, dude.
I do, and
It's
I know
entertaining.
Michael Eisner was interviewed recent. At least I saw it recently. I don't know if it was an old interview or not. And they were kind of asking him about streaming and all the other stuff, and he started talking. It was brief, maybe a 3 minute or 3 minute clip I saw, and he was talking about they were saying how much COVID kind of really killed the theater industry for a while, and it's never really come back to what it was pre-COVID.
Hmm.
He basically his point on it was he really thinks the home entertainment systems, the big screens and all that. That's what's killed it. And they said, well, what's your magic ball? What do you think is going to happen? He goes, well, they're not going away. He said, but in 20 years, will there be any movie theaters left besides novelty ones? I don't know. He said, because it's just the revenues have just continued to decline so much that, and especially as the younger generation, which has now been used to, watching everything on their phone,
Small
watching
screen. Yeah.
everything, are they going to actually go spend? Because I
Dude,
told
it's expensive.
Dude,
So
I
expensive.
went last year to see the last Mission Impossible one. I didn't go to the theater, the couple theaters I go to that are like you said, reclining seats, leather,
Yeah.
really nice. We went to that one that served food there up in near you that time. That was a cool. That
The
was
Alamo one. What's it called?
Alamo
The
one, yes. We don't have
Draft
anything
House.
like
Whatever.
that here, but we've got some nice
That was
theaters.
cool, by the way.
That was
Terminator.
really cool. That was very cool. Yes. He Arnold got us good with that one. So he
Yeah,
even
yeah.
replied to my tweet too. I got to like a reply to you.
Dude, it was
Actually,
awesome. I know, dude.
yeah,
It was awesome.
that was such a cool experience. But this one up here, I went and saw. It wasn't the IMAX, but it was like the RPX. So it had like the surround
Yeah,
sound,
expensive.
all these things. So Mission Impossible ticket, small popcorn, small soda. I think it was $42 for everything. And I'm like, what did I just get for 42 bucks? That me as a kid, that was like going to the movies
You had
like
a kick-ass movie though.
$30.
The movie was awesome.
It
That
was
was
very good.
it
It
was
was
a
very
great
good.
movie.
But I
But you're
was
right.
questioning the $42.
Oh yeah, dude. No, 100%. We if we go to we're a family of four. If we go to the movies, it's $20 a ticket.
A ticket.
So a
Wow.
ticket here, $20 a ticket if you're
Yeah.
not doing a matinee.
Right.
So and then times two for at the concessions, like going out to the like how you can't do that, but maybe once a month,
Yeah.
maybe like it's just expensive.
Yeah. Our parents couldn't have never taken us to movies if costs were
Stop,
comparison
stop.
to
No,
everything.
never,
We went
never,
to the
dude.
drive-in.
Kidding?
I remember we went to the drive-in and saw the Star Wars, and what I remember was I was very little. My cousin was rocking. She used to always rock. And then I think my aunt was leaning against the door, and someone came to the wrong thing, and they opened the door, and my aunt fell out. So I'm like, whatever, a little kid watching Star Wars, like, what the heck is going on here? I got this one shaking, one's falling out of the car.
And you're in the back seat, like you can't even see, like you're
I
looking through the
know.
front seats, like come on.
What's Luke and Leia doing? What in the world's going on here? So too funny. No, yeah, the entertainment stuff's getting interesting. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with the AI, with the technology, with
Mm,
I don't know. I'm not sure what to think, but let's think about books here for a second. So, talk a little bit about your journey because I know you were on a path like me. You actually got an agent. You had a book going on submission, and you're trying to live your dream of publish your books. Talk a little bit about that, and then as we transition to got some. So now I have these. I have they looks bad because I got stickies, but I want to actually read a couple things that I saw here
oh,
in the
okay.
day that I thought
No,
was
I
lovely.
appreciate that. The journey, it's a journey, like literally a journey. Um,
Yeah,
so I started writing the first story, first novel to write was Drone Kings, and I started writing that in 2016.
yeah.
It was a Secret Service protagonist. Personally, I think it's a great story. It's a
It's a
cool
great
story.
story. I read it years and years ago. It should have been
So I
published.
had I went, I was like, first thing you gotta do is find a literary agent. So I started querying agents, and I got one like right away,
Mhm. Which is
at
not
a big
normal.
agency. Yeah, I was at a big agency. I'm like, dude, I am him.
I'm
Like
the same.
this is great. This is easy. People take forever to get. I'm like, totally, it's totally gonna happen. And then so I got an agent, and we did some revisions, and then we went on a submission, and I got a deal. I got a contract from a not one of the big five, but mid tier.
Hmm.
And I was like, I really am him. I'm like, this is great. My ego was so inflated; it was ridiculous.
Sure. Sure.
Um, and it should not have been, but it's great because well, it's just funny how things happen.
Yeah.
And so the publisher they get the contract, and the contract was predatory, maybe, or
Hmm.
just not good. I wouldn't maybe not predatory. It was just not good.
Yeah.
Um, where the advance was a pittance, and they wanted to take certain rights, like TV and movie rights, that just are not normal, essentially.
Hmm.
And my agent was like, "Dude, I can't let you take this." I'm like, "But we have no other offers." He goes, "I don't think." He's like, "I don't think you can take it." And he goes, "Honestly, my boss isn't going to let me let you take it,
Yeah.
so we have to reject it." I
Yeah.
was like, as a debut author writing your first story, to say no to the only contract you
Oh,
have
no.
on the table and say no. And then my agent's advice was just go write another story. Like
Heartbreaking.
that was a year plus of my time doing that. Like okay, I'll go write another story. And so
Real
I
quick, let me ask you now, did you I'm assuming the agent went back to the place and said, "Hey, we
yes.
might work with you, but we take this stuff out," and they just said, "No."
No, they said for any debut, this is what we do.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and he just like maybe I could get them to bump up the advance,
Hmm.
but even they wouldn't even want to do that. And it wasn't a big advance. It wasn't a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I do. I mean, I wanted to be
Yeah,
in a bookstore, right? I wanted my
absolutely.
name on the book, and it's what I wanted.
Hmm.
And so I rejected it.
Yeah.
And then my agent quit the industry. And I was like, oh my gosh. So what do I do? Well, we ended up on the crew reviews. I think by this time you had stepped back, and you're like,
I
I
think I
can't do
was
it.
gone by that point, yeah.
We ended up interviewing Boyd Morrison, who was writing for the Clive Cluster
Yeah.
Oregon
Boyd's a
Files.
great guy.
Yeah, dude, he's super smart,
Hmm.
and he's super nice too. And he's writing historical fiction right now with his sister.
Yeah, I had him on the
She's
podcast last year. Yeah, they did. Yep.
they're awesome.
Yep.
Um, So he was telling me, we were talking about Clive, and I'd read like all of Clive's books,
Hmm.
the Isaac Bell stuff. Like I love the Dirk, the Dirk Pitt stuff. Like I just love his adventure writing stories. And then he had movies, and he was talking to so I was doing background on him, and I saw that the Clive Cluster family had a competition,
Hmm.
and I was like, oh, let me submit Drone Kings to it because what else am I doing? I'm not. I still I think I'd started writing the sequel to it, but because Drone Kings wasn't going to get published, I'd stopped. I was like three-quarters of the way writing it, finishing it,
Hmm.
and so I submitted it to the Clive Cussler Adventure Writers competition, and I won the damn thing. I
Awesome.
won it, right? So I get like a
Yeah.
plaque, and I was like, so I'm good enough.
Yeah.
Like I got an agent, I had a publishing contract, and I won an award, and I won a bunch of money, dude, with it. And I was like,
Yeah.
and then I ended up becoming a judge for the competition, meeting a whole
Sure.
bunch of nice people, meeting the Cussler family, becoming friendly with them, meeting, becoming friends with other people who have like really good friends. My one buddy Ryan Pote, who was
Yeah.
a finalist a couple years later. I
Mhm.
think he's been on your show.
Yeah, I had Ryan on last summer. It was great.
He's like one of my best friends now.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So then I get a short story published. I get another short story published. I write another novel, historical fiction. I get another top tier agent at a top tier agency for historical fiction,
Hmm.
Secret Service related, going back in time, like the origins of the Secret Service.
Yeah, very cool.
So we go out on submission, and publishers come back. They love it. They love the voice. They love the story, but don't think it's going to sell. Their marketing people would come back, and this is multiple publishers. Their marketing people came back during the acquisitions meeting and said, "We just don't think it's going to sell, or it's too close to something we have already, like
Mm.
Western." I was like, "It's not a Western, but
Yeah,
okay."
right.
And at this time, like 1899 or gosh, what was that TV
Oh,
series that was Taylor Sheridan
1892?
stuff?
The
Yeah,
two.
1892. Like all that stuff was coming out. So my story was like around that time period.
It's come on.
Died,
Yeah.
died. And
Ah.
so my new agent was like, just go write another story. Like, yeah, right. That's
You could just do another one. What's the big deal? You got
just write
time.
another story. I'm like, why? So the same thing could happen again. So I wrote another story.
Right.
So I did. And me being me, I the first story I wrote was a straight up thriller.
Hmm.
The second one I wrote that died on submission also was historical fiction thriller. And so I was like, well, what else should I write? So I ended up writing a supernatural thriller. Like, why not?
What genre can I jump to next?
But
50
apparently that
Shades of Chris coming next.
the supernatural thriller industry or the genre doesn't sell very well apparently, and so there's no appetite for it. So James Rollins will write in somewhat of a supernatural
Right.
element of it, but
Yeah.
he only sells because he's James Rollins. And then
Yeah.
Dan Brown writes a supernatural,
Hmm.
but he only sells because he's Dan Brown.
Brown. Yeah, exactly.
No one else is really looking for that because it's a
Hmm.
very, very, very small market.
Yeah.
And so I've had a hard time selling that one.
Yeah.
So needless to say, during all of that, uh, because I love storytelling, I love writing. I try to become a better writer every day. Like you, I try to write every day. Actually, I do either in the morning or night.
Yeah.
Kids are sleeping, or I just don't have any other responsibilities.
Hmm.
Um, I started writing, and I think you showed them before,
Yeah.
faith-based stuff.
Yeah.
Because as I was writing the supernatural stuff, um, it's weird. Like I was writing supernatural stories, and a supernatural thing happened to me,
Hmm.
and it just increased my faith
Yeah.
because I had fallen away from my faith. I'm born and raised Catholic,
Hmm.
but around COVID time or even before, I lapsed, and we weren't going to church anymore. We weren't even praying. I wasn't even praying,
Hmm.
and I hadn't been like that. Like I went to Catholic school as a kid, and I wasn't praying, and I wasn't doing any of those things. But I wrote a short story.
Hmm.
It's what turned into the supernatural novel, and it was called The Nazarene Gene. And I
Hmm.
wrote a short story, and I sent it to Alma Katsu, who's an amazing horror writer that we had interviewed on the Crew Reviews. And I had never done this before, but I just felt compelled to send. I'm like, can you help me? Like, I've had nothing but rejection in the
Yeah.
industry. is this something? And she read it and she goes, it's really good, but it reads like the beginning of something, like the
Mm-hmm.
beginning of a novel. She's like,
Mm-hmm.
maybe go write the novel of it. And so I was like, you know what? You're right. And like the story didn't fully form, but it was like, I know where this could go.
Yeah.
And so as I started writing the story, and started living in the characters' minds, as you know, as a writer, like I don't know if they live in us or we live in them or
They're there.
they're there exactly.
Yeah.
And because it was faith based because it was supernatural and it was about Jesus and it was about demons, it was about
Mm-hmm.
angels. I started to think more and more about that. And then slowly but surely I started to pray again, which is
Mm-hmm.
something I hadn't done for a while.
Yeah.
And then it went from praying like at night to praying in the morning and night, and then praying in the morning and night, and then at meals like I used to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then going back to mass as a Catholic and going back to church and then feeling like the Holy Spirit pulled me back from the brink.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a very supernatural experience. And I don't know if I was going to talk about this today, but I guess I will. The I don't know about you, but where you get your inspirations. Actually, I know you get your inspirations when you go for walks. You go for long walks. You get your inspirations doing your long
Walks and
walks.
hiking is where a lot of it comes
You
from.
do, yeah.
Out in
A
nature,
lot of my a
where
lot
I
of my
felt
inspir
closest to God, honestly.
right. So like big open space,
Yeah.
right? And it's just you and your
Yep.
thoughts, and you can
Because I hike a
communicate
lot by myself, honestly, just because I'm
communicate with the
alone.
God, right?
I'm single, so yeah.
So where I get a lot of my inspiration, I had for writing stories and stuff, is in the shower.
Yeah, shower's a good one. That's where I work out plot details for sure.
So there's no interruption,
Yeah.
right? Um, so I'm in the shower and I'm praying because now I've gotten into a habit of praying, which I hadn't
Mm-hmm.
done before because I was uh, just in my characters' heads and they were praying, and so
Mm-hmm.
I was praying. So if my character's praying, it's really me praying.
Right.
And I was it was like the Holy Spirit was telling me that I was on the path to hell,
Hmm.
that I had one foot in hell and
Mm-hmm.
the other was essentially on a banana peel,
Mm-hmm.
and that if I didn't straighten out my life, and the crazy thing is, Eric, I didn't think I was going to hell. Like I thought I was a good person.
Yeah.
Like I thought I was a good person, like holding doors open for people and being polite and
Mm-hmm.
paying my taxes and just being nice, right? But that wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
And it laid bare all of my sins like in
Mm-hmm.
in the shower, in this moment in the shower. And so I had this. We're gifted as writers,
Mm-hmm.
so we're gifted with imagination.
Yep.
And so with my prayers, I'd been entering into prayer with my imagination and placing myself in like the mysteries of, because I'm Catholic, of Christ's passion.
Mm-hmm.
So like I would picture myself there, I'd picture him there, I'd picture the apostles, I'd picture the Romans, Pontius Pilate. Like I would picture all of those things as if I was there,
Mm-hmm.
if I was going to write the story.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm in the shower and I see myself as a sheep of all the things, um, I'm a sheep, not a man. So it's in my head. Like I know I'm in the shower, but I'm also seeing this as if it's a movie
Yeah.
reel and like it's playing as a movie.
Right.
And I see myself as a sheep, but I'm in complete and utter darkness. And I'm like in these hills and this ravine, and I don't know where I am, and I know I'm lost, and I'm terrified and scared, and I know I'm not where I'm supposed to be,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking for like a point of reference, and I can't find any because it's nothing but shadows and darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like I said, I'm terrified and scared, and I turn around and I look behind me, and I see this bright light, like a lighthouse. It's like a beacon calling to me. And I just know it's our Lord. So I know it's Jesus Christ. And I
Mm-hmm.
just know it's him. And I know at the same time that I need to get back there because it's safety, and where I'm at is just it's just bad where I'm at.
Yeah.
And so I turn around and I see this vast distance. It's like canyons and gullies and hills and mountains between me and that light. And I was like, it's so vast and so far, I can't get there. And I just hear like a whisper, a voice, just move, just go. And in my mind's eye, like it plays out like a movie, and I see myself move. And in an instance, I'm like halfway there.
Mm.
And I get there and I see that I'm closer. And then I could see him in this bright, beautiful light, like he's pristine white. But he's like shining outward. And but outside of him is darkness. And still in the darkness. And so I get close. And so then I get close enough that the light shines upon me and I see myself as a sheep, not as me, not as Chris, but as a sheep.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm covered in muck
Hmm.
and I'm dirty and disgusting. And I shy away knowing that I shouldn't be in the light because I'm just disgusting. I don't even deserve to be in the light. And so like I go to turn away and he grabs me and he pulls me close. And none of my muck or dirtiness gets on any of his white garments. And like it like just doesn't touch him.
Hmm.
And he's holding me tight. I'm like, I don't deserve to be here. He goes, no, you deserve to be here. I'm like, no, I don't let me go. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna let you go. And he goes, what would you, he's a, and so like, it's like a dialogue in my head and I
Yeah.
hear his voice and he goes, what would you do for your children, Chris? And he goes, what would you do? And I answered, I said, I would burn the world down for my children to protect and save them, to get to them. And I know you would. You would do whatever you needed to do.
Yep.
And he goes, that's not what I would do. He goes, I wouldn't burn the world down. He goes, I would die for it.
Mm.
And I was like, in that moment, I knew I would totally die for my children.
Mm.
And I wouldn't even be it wouldn't even be a second thought.
Yeah. Right.
As a father, you would know that. Not even a second thought.
Mm-hmm.
No hesitation. Like if something like I would step in front, take me.
Yeah.
And so he says that to me. And then so as if this wasn't crazy enough playing on in my head, like I was in the shower, but this is playing on in my head as if I was there.
Mm-hmm.
The next moment, Eric, I was no longer in the shower. I wasn't there anymore. I wasn't in his arms anymore. I was in. It sounds bizarre, but I was in the not space, but I wasn't. I wasn't in my house. I wasn't in the shower. I wasn't in my imagination. I was no longer where I was physically, but I was somewhere else, ethereal. I don't know. It felt like space, but it wasn't space. And in the distance were all these glowing, sparkling lights. And then I looked down at me, and I know I'd said before that I was a sheep, but I wasn't a sheep anymore. I wasn't even me. I was like, I have a hard time explaining it. I was like a gelatinous globe that was, think of like an oil slick
Mm-hmm.
with like a rainbow in the middle of it.
Hmm.
And that was me. I could see, I could hear, I could feel, I could think. I didn't have a body though. And then I felt an immense wave come at me. So the sparkling lights that were all around me, like I just knew they were angels. It's getting a little bit weird, but this is everything I experienced.
Yeah.
I knew they were angels, and then this wave of love came at me that I've never felt before. It was all around me. It was in me. It was the most magical, most wonderful thing, and I knew immediately that that was God, the Creator, and it was tremendous
Mm-hmm.
and stupendous and terrific, and I didn't want to be away from it ever.
Yeah.
And it felt like it was almost too much love, and the love that you have for your children, the love I have for my children, my parents, my brothers and sisters, my friends, pales in comparison.
Mm-hmm.
The love I have for my wife just pales in comparison. The love that I felt directed towards me that I didn't deserve was so amazing and infinite that it almost like I was going to explode from outside. And then, as quickly as it happened, I came out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, my body shook. It was like an out of body experience.
Yeah.
And I was back in the shower and I turned the water off and I fell to my knees and I knew I was transformed. And that's who I am today. Completely and utterly transformed, knowing that what I experienced, knowing God's grace, feeling his love, and that it all came about from storytelling,
Mm-hmm.
from something that I love to do. So something that I would have been rejected for,
Right.
that I was given enough enough success to continue on to, agent, publishing contract, couple publishings and short stories, an award, just enough to write this story, the supernatural story, to get me to that point in that shower where God was talking to me, letting me know how much he loved me, to letting me know that I was broken inside, sinful, that I was on the pathway to hell, and he didn't want that for me. And that um, I needed I needed to come back. I need to accept his grace, accept his love, accept his sacrifice, accept that he is responsible for my salvation, and then to live a good, faithful, and righteous life. And that's where I end up today.
It's amazing. Um, I brought this with me to Spain. I had some back and forth with you about the trip. You kind of get. I would have never gone to Girona if it wasn't for you. I
Oh
wanted
yeah,
to see
Girona.
the Sagrada
Mm.
Familia because I wouldn't have had tickets. I ended up having to buy them third party anyways.
It was worth it though. Worth it.
Completely. Yeah. Instead of paying €40, I paid €130 or whatever for the same
I
tour.
know, dude. I know. I'm sorry. We should have talked
No,
before.
no, it was totally fine. But why I'm bringing it back to this was I knew I needed to bring some stuff with me to read, and I hate reading off my
Mm-mm.
phone. I read off my phone all the time. I'm always glued to my phone, and it's the devil. Um, but I didn't want to bring. I went for this trip. I was supposed. Buddy was going to come with me. He had technical issues with his passport, so I went by myself. 4 days in Spain. Never been to a non-English speaking country by
It's
myself.
awesome though.
It was an amazing experience, but I was like, I'm literally just going with a backpack. I'm not bringing luggage. I'm just going to go simple like a college student. So I didn't have much room. So this is the
Perfect.
only thing that came with me. And so every night when I find a place to eat, I try to find local restaurants. I would sit there and read this. And a couple people I interacted with actually, like I met some Americans one night at this Spanish restaurant, and went and sat with them, and I brought the book over. Like, what are you reading? And I started talking about you. I said, well, I got a buddy
Ah,
that's Secret Service, started writing, so I was showing them the cover and stuff. Um, what I want to do though is one of the things. There's a lot of stories in here, and people need to. I think the blessing that these stories are, but the afterword is what got me, and I just want to read
okay.
this real quick for the audience.
Sure.
These stories were born from moments when I witnessed grace break through every day, sometimes in my own life, sometimes in the lives around me. A stranger's kindness, a family's quiet strength, a child's innocent prayer. Grace often arrives like that, unexpected, undeserved, but perfectly timed. That's
Dude.
like a watershed thing. And I take this back even to something near and dear to my heart, which was U2. Listen to U2. One of their most powerful songs is named Grace. And it's all about, essentially, people don't understand it if they don't know some of their lyrics, but it's essentially about God's grace and how powerful.
Yeah.
Pretty much that's the most powerful thing there is. People think, oh, miracles or this and that. It's like, no, no, no. It's the grace that's the power.
Yeah. It
It's
is.
the
And it's
forgiveness.
so undeserving. It is. It's such a gift. It's a gift of love that we don't
Absolutely.
deserve. We don't deserve. We're not worthy of it because we're sinners and broken inside. But he gives it to us, and it shows up in most often in the mundane, in the small everyday places. And so all those stories in that chat book, it's a chat book. It's a 15 stories, and they're microfiction, 500 words, two
Yeah.
pages. Um, those are all true stories, every single one of those. And some of those are me. I fictionalize like the names and
Fictionalized.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But they're me, and the crazy thing is, I didn't recognize them in the moment what it
Mhm.
was.
Right.
Like my eyes weren't open to it, and still God was giving it to me. He
Mhm.
was still letting. He was still working with me, even though I was stubborn, even though I was selfish, even though uh, I didn't accept him or in a way didn't want him.
Mhm.
He was still heaping it upon me and others. And so like those stories are uh, you think about like because I wrote another chapbook. I think you had it was Everyday
Yeah, I'm gonna
Saints. You
read from
think that
that next. So
yeah, so you think that it has to be like this big mystical moment like I told you my experience like that was a big mystical moment,
sure,
but you don't need to have
you
those.
don't have
Like
to.
it's literally in every day. You just have to be aware to it. You have to be willing to see it. You have to want to see it.
Mhm.
And then you'll be amazed at how many times it happens. It's crazy.
Yeah. I was gonna leave it. So I stayed at the Moxie in Barcelona, which was I picked that hotel because I'm familiar with Marriott properties. When I travel, I normally stay Marriott, and because I was by myself, I didn't want to get too far out of my comfort zone for safety. And I figured, let me find a hotel close to the train station because I'm going to be taking the train places. And part of my intention was, okay, I stayed at the Moxie in Dublin about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and they had a bookshelf there that you could leave books and take books
Hmm,
and stuff. So I left a couple of my books there, and I thought, and I
cool.
remembered that, and I was like, I'm gonna have this to read with me, and then I don't need it after that. I'll leave it for someone else, and maybe it'll bless someone else. The darn Moxie in Barcelona didn't have any, but I wouldn't even talk to them. Hey, do you have like a bookshelf? I got a friend's book I want to leave, and they're like, looked at me like, what?
Like, no, we don't do that
So I was
here.
like, so I'm gonna put it somewhere. I just haven't. It'll come with
Ah,
me on a
dude.
future trip, and I'll find a
So
spot. But
that's what I hope people would do if they were to get that. Hopefully, see themselves in those stories, but
mhm.
then to pass it on.
Pass it on, yeah.
Like like you and I don't write to make. It'd be nice to make some money, but you and I aren't writing stories, and especially like faith based stories. Like I'm not writing. Like I have a job.
Yeah,
I'm very
yeah.
blessed to have a job. My wife has a job. Like we're very blessed.
Right.
I'm not writing to make money. I'm writing to bring God to people.
Mhm.
That's it. Hear his message, maybe open people's one person, two people, three people, lots of people, open their eyes to him, to his love.
Well, you don't. That's the powerful thing about words, and especially the stage in life where we're at, where I think a lot of the ambitions that you have when you're younger, they don't always fade. Some people keep that all the way through. They always want something. Well, when you hopefully start getting to that middle spot in life, when you realize, what have I been aiming for all this with my existence? It's not stuff. Stuff
Yeah,
is
dude.
gonna, it's you're not taking it. Elon Musk is worth what, 700 billion now. Guess what? One day he'll take his last breath and there will be no rocket ship
Nothing.
following him with piles of gold from his
Yeah.
700 billion dollars. It's not going anywhere. So what are you chasing in life? And I want to read this part. So this is from the other one, Everyday Saints. And so again, the afterword, because I think your afterword for me is like what I what I put into in a way in my acknowledgments, but also what I see in other people's acknowledgments. It's kind of like your final thanks, what you want to say about it, and I could feel you in the afterward, which I thought was powerful. So with this one, sainthood isn't about earthly validations or even titles. It's about offering help to those who need it and accepting help when it's offered to us. It's about loving not only when it feels right and good, but especially when it seems impossible or undeserved. It's about showing up. It's about saying yes to grace, one small choice at a time until love becomes our native language.
Yeah, dude. That's
Beautifully
it.
said, and something that I think in this wild life that's filled with blessings and hardships and everything else, it's something we need to be reminded of more.
Yeah, dude. Even the hardships are blessings, and that's it's taken me for a while to figure that out. Almost my entire life.
Well, the good
Yeah, if
things
you,
wouldn't be that good if everything was good. Then
I know.
everything would just be the same thing. So you need those low points to make you realize what you're missing out on. And when those good things come, you can take
Yeah.
those blessings and say, man, I wouldn't have got this blessing if I didn't just have to go through this pit I fell into.
The interesting like it's so funny, Eric. If you had talked to me 2 years ago, you'd be talking to a different Chris.
Mhm.
Um, but the sufferings and the setbacks. Just imagine if everything worked out for you, everything.
Yeah.
Like you were the luckiest man, and like it's just appeared like you were the luckiest man in the world. Everything you touched turned to gold. Everything.
Hmm.
Would you think about God?
Exactly.
Probably not.
No. What
So
would you need?
when
What would you need him for at that point?
yeah, you would think it was all you.
Right.
So like you're a good writer. You write great stories. Where did that talent come from?
Hmm.
Did you do anything to get that talent?
Yeah.
You may have fine tuned it, but did you do anything for your imagination? The stories that you come up with? No, dude, none of that stuff comes from you.
Hmm.
Do you sit down and you type out the words, like you put in the effort, but your skill, your talents, that doesn't come from you. It doesn't come from me. Like we're just born with those things. I wish I could sing. I tell my daughter this. Like she was taking singing lessons, and I was like, I wish I could sing. I can go to church and sing. I suck at singing. I am the worst singer. I still try, but there's no amount of training and how many hours I put into that
Mhm.
I would be a talented singer. I might become a mediocre singer. I would never be a talented singer.
Right.
Then those talented singers, what do they do to earn those talents? They fine tune them and make them a little bit better. But they're gifted those. And so like our storytelling,
Hmm.
that's a gift.
It is.
It truly is. And
Mhm.
so I was looking about what gift have you given me, Lord, that I can reflect back to you and give you thanks? Because I always think about athletes. This is how ego driven and I don't know, narcissistic I was. I had one foot in hell and one foot on a banana
Banana
peel.
peel.
Essentially, it was. I really was because I was thinking so warped. I would get somewhat annoyed. I don't now, but I would get annoyed when I would hear like sports. The guy at the end of the game, he would give all glory and honor to the Lord for what had happened,
Right.
for his ability and skills. That like everything that just happened on the field wasn't anything I did. It was the God gave me the talent to do it, and I just went and did it. And I
Hmm.
was like, dude, that's crazy. Chris before would have thought that. Chris now is like, yeah, dude, that is all him.
Yeah.
You just showed up and you cooperated with his grace, with his
Hmm.
love. But we were talking about like the suffering. Like, I don't know if there was no suffering in this world, like if I didn't suffer, if I would turn to him, like if everything was great, if if I had no wants or desires, I wouldn't turn to him.
Hmm.
And I think those sufferings are an opportunity for us, because God knows us better than we know ourselves, for us to turn to him. So like when God wanted to give David a crown from the Old Testament,
Hmm.
he didn't just give him the crown. Like he sent him Goliath. Like, dude, I'm going to test you.
Right.
Where's your faith? Are you going to step up? Are you going to cooperate with my grace?
Hmm.
And I think that's just the message. Like we all just need to cooperate with his grace, humble ourselves as writers. It's a humbling experience.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get through this if you don't humble yourself.
Hmm.
And it's like, and when I started this, I had the biggest ego, Eric, the biggest ego. And I wrote the story and I got the agent and I got a publishing contract. It was like bing, bang, bang. And then it was all ripped out from underneath me. And I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Like I'm good enough. Why did that happen? And honestly, dude, I'm so grateful that it happened. I'm so grateful I didn't get that publishing contract. And I'm grateful that it fell through. And I'm grateful that the next two books I wrote didn't sell,
Hmm.
because I wouldn't have written that supernatural one, which would have brought me back to him. Like I wouldn't, none of those things happen. Like in hindsight being 2020,
Yeah.
none
Absolutely.
of those things happen. And to recognize where I am today and to write stories, uh, faith-based stories, as a witness to him,
Hmm. Well,
witness to his love.
it's a it's a blessing that you're able to look back at. There's so many times I think people get blinded and they can't look back at those pivotal moments that put them on the path. Because when they're going through those moments, of course, like you were
Oh,
saying,
it
to start
sucks.
with,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
building
terrible.
seven. Why did building seven have to fall and take my application? Why did this have to happen? Well, those things happen for a reason. And to have that hindsight of being able to look back and go, okay, now you're living in a spot where you can see why these events happened. And I'll tell you this because I know enough people that have been successful in this business. If Chris had gotten his agent, if Jerome King's had gotten Simon and Schuster, a big name publisher, if you
Yeah.
had gotten this, would you have been a happy person? Maybe for a brief period of time, but then what would you want? Well, I need something better.
More.
I need the
Yeah.
next. I always tell that people with writing, to me, I can't accurately express how much it means to finish a book and get that sense of accomplishment. That pride that's within me. It's not a I'm the man pride. It's just pride that, man, I spent months of my free time working on
You
something
persevered.
and
Yeah.
I did what I want to do. That feeling ends quickly though. That feeling does not sustain me like, okay, I wrote my
Hmm.
book and now I can just sit on my laurels and now fame and fortune are going to come or whatever you think is going to come. No, even if you get that, you're not going to be happy with that. It's that I keep going back to this, and this is my journey. What I've been trying to share with people is I was talking to John Guarnieri yesterday about our anthology, and we had a long conversation. And he lost his dad last year, and there's so many hardships that happen in life. And I said I keep trying to remind myself and tell other people, John, we get so in this life stuck with the destination. I've got to get to this destination. This destination is going to bring me the joy. It's like if you don't find the joy in the journey, because that's where the joy is happening, even in the bad times. That if you don't find the joy in that, once you get to that destination, you're not all
Yeah.
of a sudden going to be like, oh, I'm content. No, you're not. No, you're
Yeah.
not.
But
It wasn't what you thought it was going to be.
you got to find the joy in the present. Like
Yeah.
and so like I've prayed about that often. Like, where's the joy? Like in the suffering, can you find joy in suffering? You can definitely find joy in joy. Like good things that happen. Yeah, there's joy. Can you find joy in the mundane and the everyday? Can you find it in the suffering? Um, there would so I've been blessed. I've some of my for the last 2 years I've been writing in a spiritual journal. It's things that I've then taken and tried to share. There's a website called Catholic Exchange because I'm Catholic. So I reached out to Catholic Exchange, and the editor was like, "Oh, I like some of your writing," because I started a Substack,
Yeah, I
and
think
so
that's where I've read your stuff. Yeah.
I started submitting some articles that I had written from taken from my journal and then put them in an article form
Hmm.
to Catholic Exchange, which is like a daily devotional. And so there was one about joy, and I remember going for normally when I go for walks, it's with my wife, and I'll tell you real quick, offside tangent. The reason my application went down in Tower 7 is so that I could apply in 2003, and then I got hired in 2004 and be in the same academy class as my wife
As your
because
wife.
that's where we met. We met in the academy. So like I God was like, no, no, you're premature. Stop. He's like, I need you to wait a year or two
Right.
because you got to meet your wife, buddy. Like,
You
just
gotta
hang
meet.
out.
You gotta meet this woman.
So I because I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, dude, I can't believe why did that happen?
Right.
And why did that happen is because honestly, the only reason, and I know this for a fact, the only reason I was in the Secret Service was to meet my wife.
Hmm.
It was cool jobs, cool opportunity. I did some really cool things, but
Hmm.
really the crust of it was to meet my wife
Yeah.
and to start a family, and then for her to save me and me to save her,
Hmm.
faith based wise, and then for our children as well. But I remember talking about like joy, and I was like, man, I'm having a hard time finding joy. I know, Lord, you command us not to worry, not to have anxiety. It's difficult in today's world and any time and age
Sure.
because I'm a worry wart. I'm like, I don't want to worry, but I want to find joy because that sounds great. Like I want to find joy. How do I find joy? And I wrote this article from experience that I had. I went for a walk, and usually I walk with my wife, who's a workout Nazi. And so when we walk, like it's not a nice leisurely
It's,
walk where we talk. Like she's like power walking
she's beating
Olympian.
you.
Oh yeah, and ridiculing me like, why am I 15 feet behind her? Like, get faster, get faster. Like it hurts. And if we're having a conversation, it's like in between huffs.
I'm the protectee, baby. You got to stay back here and keep me
Yeah.
safe. What are you doing running ahead?
Yeah, no, she's like, what are you doing back there? Like, I'm just trying to keep up.
Uh,
So on this walk, she wasn't there. She was working. And so I was like, yeah, I want to go out for a walk. And so I was like, and Eric Bishop, I'm gonna go out for a walk, maybe, talk to God, maybe think about a story, and end up talking to God. And I end up on this trail, and I was like, God, I know I'm supposed to find joy, and I don't know how to do it. So can you just tell me?
mhm.
And like I never really asked questions like that. Can you just show me? Can you just give me a sign?
Right.
And the crazy thing is that like he gave me a sign that was perfectly situated for me. Like she
Mhm.
was perfect. As a young boy, I loved astronomy. I loved the planets. And I would when I was like a young kid, I would crawl out of the bathroom window up onto our carport. We lived in this single family ranch. And then I'd go up on the roof and I would lay on my back and I'd just look at the stars.
There it
I
stars.
loved it, dude. I loved it. And when I was in college, I was like, I want to be an astronomer. I just want to look at stars. And then I found out it was very mathematical and
You're like, "Ah,
like, no, dude, I just want to look at the telescope. Like, I don't want to do math. That's weird. No, I just want to look at the beauty of the
two and
stars.
two is not four. What are you people talking about? What
That's
in the world?
that's just dumb. Like I just want to observe.
Yeah.
So I didn't do astronomy. So anyway, so I was like, Lord, how do I find joy? And I step onto this trail that cuts through forested area here in Fairfax County, Northern Virginia, and I look down at the ground, and it's concrete path
Hmm.
through the forest, and someone, it was had to have been a kid, had taken chalk and drew Mercury,
Hmm.
and it was like a little gray circle with the words Mercury above it, and I was like, no, because I found such joy as a kid
Right.
going up on the roof
Yeah.
and just, amazed and with wonder looking at the stars. And I was like, all right, that's cool. Like Mercury. And then go a little bit farther and there's Venus.
Mm.
I was like, okay, that's really cool. I'm going to find Earth a couple more feet in front of me, right?
Right.
There's Earth. And then a little bit farther on, there's Mars. And then there's Jupiter. And then there's Saturn and Uranus and Neptune. And then Pluto also. Because I was like, all right, cool. They put Pluto in. But it was like a miniature universe or
Totally.
solar
Yeah.
system with on the parking on this walking path
Hmm.
to scale. And I was like, I found joy. I found joy in that. I'm like, that's joy. Thinking of the little boy or girl who was drawing that probably with their parents, their
Hmm.
mom or dad, overseeing it, walking the steps to like, oh, if we're gonna do it to scale, Earth is gonna be, 20 yards away or whatever. And then just seeing that going, it's amazing, Lord, that I asked a question and you immediately answered it
Hmm.
in a way that I would
It
totally
was
get.
you.
Like that I would totally get. Like if it was Shauna, my wife, if she was walking, she'd be like, okay, some kid just drew on the chalk and just walk right by.
Yeah, we'll
Like
probably
maybe
step
not even
on it.
see
Probably.
it. Maybe not even
Right.
see it, right? Because she's just blazing through it. But me going, Lord,
She'd
show me
erase it right off of
way.
their feet. She's going so fast.
Yeah, yeah, like literally rip it off. But me walking through it and seeing that, just going, dang, dude, really?
Yeah.
You're gonna put the universe, like the solar system, and you're gonna show me all. That's what joy is. Being the little kid, being the having such wonder in the small things and the grand things, and then just having the eyes open to see it,
Hmm.
being able to act, one, having the grace to ask the question, and
Right.
then be having your eyes open to see where the answer is.
Hmm.
Because if I wasn't looking down, if I wasn't walking down that path, I wouldn't have seen those
Wouldn't have
things.
seen it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes me think, ask and you shall receive.
Yeah,
Doesn't
dude,
mean
right?
you're probably going to receive exactly what, because we so often in life put our preconceived notions on everything. This is what I have to have because this is my heart's desire. This is my aspiration. Success, for circle it back to writing. We see, and we've both talked to very successful authors. So I think in our head, there's a little piece always, which is natural. You think, well, I'm not successful unless I achieve that level,
Yeah.
but that might not be part of your journey. And that's one of
No.
those things, again, that I think I always have to remind myself of, hey, like you had mentioned before, I've got books on my shelf. That's what I wanted to do. Would I like to do it from Fiji? Yes, because I'm not stupid. That would be great. Would I like a Ferrari in the driveway? Yes. That's okay, though. My son's
Sure.
guided me on that. When he's a famous musician, he tells me, oh, this is
He's
a
gonna
funny,
get you
funny.
one?
I'll end with this funny story of my part, at least, and then you can, then we'll get people
Yeah, yeah.
where to get your books. We're out at this college the other day and we're talking and all that, and so he's like, "Don't worry, Dad, I'm gonna get you that Ferrari one day." I was like, "That's awesome," because we've had lots of jokes over the years about different
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
He goes, and then when you're ready to check out, we're gonna just push the Ferrari out of a plane and we're gonna land in a volcano. And I'm like,
Dude,
dude,
that's awesome.
that would be the way to go. I don't want someone else
Film
to
it.
have my Ferrari and I'm going to die quickly and I'm going to get free fall as I'm going in. I'm like, that's the perfect way to kill me. So that was our joke then.
Wait a minute, kill you or you're already dead? Wait a minute.
I
You
think
just
I'm
get
alive when they push me off. I think when
wow,
when
that's
it's time to check
brutal.
out, I don't
That's
know. But
brutal.
they're,
You're like, all right.
kids nowadays have been subjected to a lot of stuff. So
Wow.
us 70s kids, we're pretty rough. And now these kids are, well, maybe they're not rough. I don't know. They could be
That
snowflakes. I don't know.
that
Maybe
that
not.
that's funny. Yours is a Ferrari, mine's a Gullwing Mercedes.
That's
My
fun.
kid, my kid says, "Yeah, when I'm successful, Dad, I'll get you that Gullwing." I'm like, okay,
I
don't.
I've told Bruce I don't need anything special. 308 GTS, I want what Magnum had. I've
Oh
looked at them
yeah.
over the last 10 years. They have gone up in price, but they're still much, much, much cheaper than a regular brand new Ferrari.
Yeah, dude.
I don't want much.
But here's the thing. Have you tried to get into a sports car at our age? Have you
Um,
tried to get into a Ferrari or a Corvette even?
I haven't been in a Corvette. My dad has a Corvette, so but I
Dude,
have
they're
not.
low to the ground.
I know.
They're so low to the ground, and then they're cool to drive. Like, and then try to get out. Not that I've ever driven a Ferrari, but try to get out of like a Corvette or something. You're like, dude, it's so low to the ground. My back is hurting. I'm gonna crawl out of the damn
Well,
thing.
and they're all old guys driving them, like my
I
dad.
know it's so
So I
bizarre.
don't know how. I think they must have like electric like seats that recline them up and put like almost like those. They used to have those handicapped ones that went up the stairs. You
Yeah,
push.
yeah, yeah.
They got to have those to get the old guys out of Corvettes or something. Sorry to any of our audience that's an old guy with a Corvette, but you know it's true.
It's totally true.
Like we could go on for another hour. So folks, I'm gonna take the sticky off this one. I do actually have the other ones on digital, not on print
Ah, dude, I
off, but
appreciate that.
digital's great. I think you sent me one of them actually. So, but hold on, there we
Yeah,
go.
there they are. Look at that.
You need a blessing in your life, and you need a reminder. And I'm honored to have a Chris be part of my journey and me part of his journey, and see the full circle of you coming back to your faith and then you
Ah, dude.
sharing it with people. um it's a powerful thing, and it's much more powerful than Chris being the #1 New York Times bestseller with an Amazon
Oh
series and all
yeah,
this other stuff. that
doesn't mean anything.
that might be fun and that might be great and you might be able to reach a lot of people, but what is going to be rewarding in life is if you can reach people with the right thing, with something that brings you joy and you find your joy in, and you can then get other people to find their joy by following their path, but a similar path.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Eric. Thanks so much. I'm honored to be a guest on your show. Um, I'm grateful. I'm blessed that I actually didn't get those publishing contracts and those other stories. I wouldn't be the man I am today, right here, right now. And that's honestly all that matters. Um, the journey,
Yeah,
being present in this moment,
live
receiving
for
his
it.
grace, and then and writing stories that he provides to me that are not necessarily just wholesome, but give a good message that like I was telling in my story there, my vision, revelation, where I was that sheep. We're all that sheep, that dirty, muck-filled, disgusting. We're every one of us is that, and not all of us know we are that. Like
Mhm.
I didn't know that, dude. Like if I'd gotten that publishing contract or just life in general, like I did not know how dirty and disgusting I was and how broken I am inside and how much I need his love and how much I need his grace. We are all that.
Yeah.
And so my 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 mission, my goal, my want, my desire is to bring as many people to help as many people um see like the scales fall from their eyes and see really what is important. The
Mhm.
Ferrari's not important. It's cool. It's not important.
Yeah.
The um the books are cool. Your name on a book, it's cool. It's not important.
Yeah.
Um, our relationship with God, relationship with each other, showing each other love,
Hmm.
grace, mercy, like all of that. That's what's important, man. Otherwise, we end up with a crappy world. And you look around, it is crappy. But if you or me and a couple other people, like it's infectious. It really is. If we show each other love, we show each other mercy, kindness, and we try to be righteous, man, the world would be so cool.
Yeah. It's probably one of those cliche statements, but I do think there's so much truth in it that love is more powerful than hate. And so often, especially now, we grew up in a really unique time, I think, in the world. And now the period of time we're going through is as well unique, but what gets the airplay a lot of times is not the love, not the positivity, it's the clickbait, it's the
Of
hate, it's
course,
the
dude,
judgment and
rage,
all
the
that.
rage bait. We were talking about that. The rage
Rage
bait.
bait. And so, yeah,
It's horrendous.
I think the more people can focus on the truth, the better people in general would be.
I think if people just take a look at themselves and see the brokenness, the need for something like you were talking about, you can become a New York Times bestseller. You can have all you have the Netflix show, like, but there'll still be an emptiness inside you. Like how many people that my wife and I were talking about this recently, who reached the pinnacle of their industry, music, acting, and they're just into drugs and sex, and they're miserable people. And
Hmm.
then some of them commit suicide.
Yeah.
But why? Like you've reached the pinnacle. Like there's nothing, you can't go any higher. Why?
Oh,
Why? What are you missing? And the answer to that question is, at least to me now, is
yeah.
very obvious.
Yep. Um, I'll end my part of this saying that not to circle back to you too, but there's so many truths in there. Bono talks, and I'm totally drawing a blank on what song, but that's okay. I know what he says. Talks about trying to fill a God-shaped hole, which is,
Mm,
it says it exactly in one of the lyrics. And it's like, that's what people are trying to do. You have a
yeah,
God-shaped hole in your soul. You're trying to fill it with something. And the
that's
biggest
not
question for
God.
people
Yeah,
is, what are you gonna put in that spot?
yeah,
And
it's got to be
if
him.
it's the New York Times bestseller list, or if it's the Ferrari, or whatever, it ain't gonna
No,
fill that hole.
no, dude, your life will be so much better. Mine is. Doesn't mean it's easier. Like
Right.
it does, yeah, yeah. It doesn't take away all those the trials and the suffering. It doesn't take away that stuff. But it makes me happier.
Yeah. Well, the pits are still the pits, but if
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
climb out of that pit,
At
that's
least
where.
the thing is, I know I'm not alone.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, you're not. Thank you, Chris.
All right, brother. It's good talking to you.
Great talking.